Ladies and gentlemen, I have just had some news about X1 that we are about to get into in just a moment. But I must introduce you to the lobby, which is the ExA Racing League X1 division here tonight in Austria. The very small circuit, 10 corners, 3 DRS zones. Yes, that's 3 DRS zones. 4.3 kilometers, which is 2.6 miles. And right now we're into the 18 minutes of qualifying and then a 36 lap race to come. So, as the drivers set their tires just so, and their setups also just so, I have some news about the championship. Yes, RLT is running, do not worry. So, our championship. Tony Ritchie in the Red Bull, previously leading the championship with 118 points to Racer's 110.5. However, I just got news that as of last week, Tony has been banned from ExA. Presumably for having a little bit of a hissy fit because of the last few races and his unfortunate events. So we have 2 new drivers for Red Bull. And this now means that Race is leading the Drivers' Championship, technically, with 110.5 points. He needs to get 7.5 points to officially overtake Tony, who is no longer part of the championship, to take the lead. But technically, he is in the lead, followed by Trixty with 84 points. So Race was saying how he's very much going to be invested in this league, and the next few tracks for him are looking very strong. And we're going to get a big championship battle right to the end. But now, it's not between Tony and Race, it's between Tony and Trixty. And that gap is 25 points or 30 points, I think, something like that. So there you go. Those are the new developments as we pass the halfway mark into the season, actually the 3/4 mark into the season, round 8 of 12. And we're underway with qualifying here. So, Ryan Grob is the driver to lead all of everybody out onto the track. Apparently we have safety car off. Is that right, Chas? Safety car entirely off? Let's have a look. Safety car is fully off. Interesting. Would have liked to see safety car on reduced, especially for X1. But for the street circuits in the lower divisions, then I can understand why we have it off. But anyhow, here comes Ryan Grob in the McLaren. Down the main straight, heading into turn 1 using all of that curb on the left-hand side of the track. And now up the hill with DRS into turn 2, which isn't really a turn. It's more like a slight little bend. Get your car almost off the track. Brake just after 100 meters. Bit of rear lock in there. Gets the car rotated. Maybe not what he wanted. But now 3rd DRS zone. Back down the hill towards turn 4 and 5, which I want to get turn 5. Not really a corner, but here we go. Into turn 4. Hit the apex nicely. Exit turn 5 right there. Little bit of a slide on the exit. So a very tight lap here. Not when it comes to the quality. Oh, another slide there. So Ryan Grob clearly not warmed up all that much. Having some difficulties here as he exits turn 8, riding the inside curb. And now over the crest towards turn 9, braking just at 50 meters. Get it turned in. Careful of track limits on the exit. Turn 10, eat all that inside curb. And now first DRS zone. Open the rear wings to slap a 104 flat on the board for the first lap, followed by Brent, who beats it by 0.4 of a second. And then Daniel, who beats his teammate to the front of the leaderboards. And then Sprogis beats all of them with a 103.174. So that is the fastest lap so far in qualifying by Sprogis. A couple of other people filling up the board. So everyone agreed after Zandvoort that no safety cars. Interesting, interesting, interesting. So that makes things a bit less on luck and more about your pure pace. It makes quali very important, which is something to give us a gander about Race. Throughout the season, we haven't seen the most amazing qualifying from him, but we've seen brilliant race pace, and he has been helped by the safety cars a couple of times, but Whether we're going to see a downplay in performance now we've got safety cars off, that is all in the question. But now we're going to have a look at Alu, defending world champion. Hasn't had much to say in this championship so far in the first half of the season. Of course, he's moved from Red Bull to Mercedes and is now slinging it round turn 6 in Sector 2. Fastest Sector 2 for Alu, by the way. You can see that purple on the track map in the bottom right now, heading towards turn 9, braking on the 50-meter board. Careful of track limits, but he keeps the wheels within the white lines now. Final DRS zone to race to the line. Goes second fastest. Very strong performance there from Alu with the fastest third sector as well. So that's a 103.2. So that puts him 500ths of a second, 600ths of a second behind Sprogis, who is currently sitting on pole. Sprogis's Achilles heel so far this season has been Tony Ritchie, but since he's no longer in the racing league anymore after getting banned, Sprogis is going to have maybe an easier time in the race and qualifying. We know in the first 3 races, those two were battling it out quite a lot, especially in Qatar. That comes to mind. So maybe the McLaren driver can get the best of Tony Ritchie not being here anymore and maybe secure his first win this season in Season 6. Of course, this is probably our final season on F123 as well. We'll be moving to F124 probably after the after Season 6. I believe the F124 is going to be released around about now. It might already be released. Anyhow, let's have a look at V10 race. In the Williams. Is this a hot lap from him? He's got a couple of cars behind him. Nope. Probably just on an in lap. So pretty much everyone coming into the pits, whether they've set a time or not. We've actually got 3 drivers on the out lap. Ryan Grob, who was the first person to put a time down today, currently sitting slowest of the runners. Everybody has beat him. But he was very, very slidey out of turn 3, out of turn 6. So he was struggling a little bit. He's locking up his tyres there to let a couple of drivers go by, both Alpines. I want to have a look at race here. So technically he is leading the championship. And now he's about to cross the line to start a flying lap now into turn 1, eating all of that inside curve, gets the car a little bit unsettled, but he recovers well. And now second DRS zone all the way up the hill, around turn 2 and entering sector 2, getting the car all the way pretty much off the track to open up that sharp turn 3 as much as possible. And now back down the hill and over a crest for the third DRS zone of the lap into turn 4 and 5. Once again, you can use so much of these curbs on the inside and the outside to really open up the corners now into the tricky high-speed corners of the second sector. That is actually a fastest sector 2 there for race. He did a 16 seconds flat in the first sector. And now heading into the final 2 corners, just a lift and a downshift there. Not even a dab of the brakes. Final corner. Oh, that's almost track limits. In fact, that was track limits, I believe, for race. On the final corner, you can see the track map lighting up in red. So once again, no time just yet for race. And we've only got 10 minutes left on the clock. He needs to get back into the pits, put on a new set of tyres. In fact, he's already been out how many times? I believe. I can't actually tell how many times. He's been out quite a few times. So, and he still hasn't managed to set a time down just yet. So let's have a look at any other drivers on a hot lap. I want to go have a look at Sprogis. He's actually into the pits, invalidating one of his lap times, flying into the pit lane there, put on a new set of tyres. Here's his teammate Ryan Grob up in third after having a pretty poor first run in qualifying. Now rounding into sector 3. Get the car pulled all the way over as much as you can, running into track limits there on turn 8. And he's going to head into the pits here. Track limits has notoriously been a problem here at Red Bull Ring. You know, the curbs are so big. And the track is pretty narrow, honestly, so you want to maximize the amount of track available there, as you can see Daniel doing that pretty much perfectly. The wheels just about staying, those inside wheels just about staying on the track within the white lines. But let's see if he makes the same mistake as Ryan did into turn 8. No, just about. The wheels just staying on the white lines. That keeps his lap valid as he heads into the final 2 corners and actually into the pit lane. So Daniel currently sitting in 4th. Alu, who is in the Mercedes, and I believe we're about to see on a flying lap, exiting turn 3. He's currently in a McLaren sandwich. McLaren sitting 1 and 3 right now into turn 4. Bit of an awkward exit because that turn 4 exit is technically another corner, turn 5. So the exit isn't as linear as you'd thought. Missed the apex a bit there into 6, but now round 7 and 8. Doesn't get track limits, but is very close on the exit of 8 because you just ride the curb in turn 8. And now not using as much of that entrance curb as we've seen other people use in the second to last corner. But now across the line, is he going to go faster? No improvement for Alu in that. What is not going to be his final run. We've got 7 minutes left of qualifying. Of course, very short track. Lap times just over a minute. But still got 18 minutes of quali. So people able to do a lot more runs than you would on a track of, let's say, Spa, for example, on the other extremities of it. But everyone is out on the track right now, pretty much. Got a couple of drivers in the pits, but most people probably on an in lap, to be honest. So, Race still hasn't set time in that AlphaTauri. Currently on an out lap warming up the tyres. And we're just going to keep our eye on him because he's only got 2 corners till he starts flying lap. He's got 7 minutes left and he very much needs to get a fast time on the board if he wants to beat his championship rival, who is now Trixty, who has been bumped up into 2nd technically in the Drivers' Championship, currently sitting in 4th right now. So here we go then. Race down the main straight, barreling towards turn 1 at nearly 200 miles an hour as he hits the brakes. Doesn't get as out of shape as he did in his previous run that we saw going around turn 1. So definitely an improvement so far for him as he heads up towards turn 3. Brake just after 50 meters, get it turned in. And now DRS open, give him that extra speed to barrel towards turn 4 at over 190 miles an hour, braking just after 100 meters. Lovely stuff so far. Very clean lap so far in that first sector. Now the second sector. Missing the apex a little bit there, but fastest sector 2 for him nonetheless, as Jerry goes fastest in the Ferrari, was, I believe, reserving for Alfa Romeo and managed to get it on the podium last week. But here comes Race to cross the line and go second fastest there by a 1/10 of a second slower than pole. Very good result there for Race. Going to be happy that the Trixty, he's beaten Trixty. That's very important, and is going to be on the front row so far with 4 minutes left of qualifying. So, Trixty currently in the pits. Is he going to be heading back out? That is the question, to try and beat his championship rival Race in the AlphaTauri, currently sitting in 2nd. Sprogis, we've seen strong performances from him, but I'm pretty sure he's going to be on an in-lap, currently sitting in 4th, as Daniel actually goes faster than Race and puts it in on the front row, bumps Race down by, well, I have to say 7,000ths of a second, that is, between the two of them. So, not much between them. Everyone pretty much in the pits. Maybe going for a final run, maybe not. Both Alpines currently sitting in 14th and 15th at the moment. And that is going to be Justin heading in for an in-lap as well. No battery left on that car. So let's have a read of the chat. Adrian Newey will leave Red Bull in 25. Isn't he leaving now? Well, he's left Formula 1 effective immediately, I believe, to work on the hypercar. He's left Formula 1 effective immediately, which means his gardening leave isn't going to be as long as we thought, which means that he could technically join Ferrari for 26. But also he's like old, so is he just going to not? Like, everyone wants him, though, because it's Adrian Newey, isn't it? So, almost everyone in the pits now. We've got a couple of drivers actually leaving the pit lane. We can see them starting to leave out for the final run with 3 minutes left on the clock. The clouds glooming over Austria. I wonder if we'll have any rain during the race, as it's not very sunny at all right now. So everyone else starting to leave the pits. Jerry still on pole position for now, only separated by 0.06 of a second between himself and Daniel, the newcomer here in the Red Bull. And Jerry, I've heard that he's actually somewhat of a PSGL driver, so he's got a lot of experience coming into ExA as a reserve in the Ferrari right now. So is that going to be his second podium in a different car? Someone that is an Alfa Romeo, sorry, Maxime, getting a 5-place grid penalty. Wonder if we'll have to do another restart of the grids because of that. So all but two are out on the track right now. Both Alpines sitting in the pits. Not anymore. They're both leaving. Everyone is out in the pit. Everyone else on the track now. So is Jerry going to be able to hold down the pole position? 0.06 of a second separates the Ferrari and the Red Bull. Jerry held in high regards coming into this league. And, well, to be honest, I have some high expectations from him. But it would be nice to see Sprogis get himself a win so far this season. He's been tantalizingly close, but not able to do anything just yet. So more people getting 5-place grid penalties, so we're going to have to do a restart of the session. But here comes Sprogis starting a flying lap. Currently sitting in P4, but wanting to get a bit higher. As we just hit a sub-goal, 10 out of 10. Lovely stuff. Anyhow, here comes Sprogis. Round turn 3 and onto the third and final DRS zone of this 4.2 kilometer track. He's got to make up about 1/10 of a second if he wants to get himself on pole. Just over 1/10 of a second, 1/10.5 as he heads round to the final corners of Sector 2. Goes fastest in Sector 2 by 0.05 of a second. So it's looking good for him, but his Sector 1 wasn't perfect. Now, final 2 corners to go. We've got 2 minutes left of qualifying. Oh, that's track limits on the final corner for Sprogis. That's track limits, so no improvement for him. Qualifying is over. There's not actually 2 minutes left. My apologies, but oh, that was tantalizingly close to Sprogis. He was let's see. Oh, he had the fastest Sector 2, but got track limits. Race bumps himself up into second while we're watching all of that, by the way. Only 13 thousandths of a second between himself and Jerry, who has slapped it on pole for now, unless anyone else can do anything about it. Alu abandoning his lap. Best he can do is P6. Let's have a look at Racer's teammate. He can't make any improvements. So that is the grid for this race now. Jerry on pole with Race closely followed behind by 13 milliseconds in that AlphaTauri, followed up by Daniel in the second row, and then it's Sprogis in fourth. Right behind him is his teammate Ryan Grob, and then it's Alu in P6 to make up the third row. And we are going to have a restart of the session because of grid penalties. But thank you very much for the prime to the channel. Whoever that was, I can't actually see who it was. Apologies. But there you go. Let's have a look. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, many grid penalties. So we're just gonna have. We're gonna have to have the lobby reset. And by the way, Trixty sitting in 9th. Definitely not the performance he would have wanted to have, as his championship rival is currently on the front row. So yeah, that's a lobby restart. Whoever's hosting, if they'd like to have a look at the session order right now. I've got it, and it's gone. Unlucky. So there we go. We get to have a little bit of a chat now while everyone loads in and then crashes into turn 1. We get to have a bit of a chat about random stuff. So Formula 1, Adrian Newey absolutely saying goodbye to the Bulls. That's going to make things a lot more interesting. It's going to make things very, very interesting. I wonder if this was all because Christian Horner's penis got put in a Google Drive folder. Adrian Newey saw that and thought, "Oh, I'm too old for all this Formula 1 stuff, you know," and then left. So here we go for the false start. As the lights are going to go out and everyone gets a jump start penalty. Driving, so much chaos. There goes an Aston Martin, a McLaren, all lacking in front wings. There goes. We've got 2 drivers left. That's Sprogis actually just sitting on the line. Oh, there he goes. Disqualified for dangerous parking on the grid. What is this angle? I don't want to look at this. I don't want to look at the rear end of a Haas. Thank you. So that was the false start. Always entertaining to watch. It's a bit more entertaining when the safety car comes out and then everyone beats the crap out of the safety car. But anyhow, there is the podium that no one is going to pay attention to. Alrighty. Also, good news in my side of things. I got offered admin. I got offered admin by Rolly. Do I take it? Do I get admin? Then I can, like, ban people. If anyone says, "Oh, Simon, your commentary's mid," banned. I could do that. Anyhow, we're going to get the lobby sorted in just un momento. Shall we play some music this time while we wait? Let's listen to the old Formula 1 theme. I wish they'd bring this back for the old Formula 1 theme. It was a banger. Back when F1 was on the BBC. Oh, great days. Listen to the wind blow. Anyhow, is anyone going to go watch some motorsport this year? Like in real life? I am. I'm going to watch the British Touring Championships at Alton Park. So I'm very excited to watch that, actually. Boom, 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 boom. All right, let's see if the grid is being... Oh. Can I join a team? No. God damn it. Wouldn't it be funny if just, like, one time in X1, I just, like, take someone's seat and ready up? Can we put red flags on increased, please, if we're going to have no safety cars? That would be funny. I'm not listening to AI case. Oh, eat it. Not listening to AI covers of that Donny who gets called fat all the time. Doing Beat It by Michael Jackson. I presume that's what it is, right? It's just eat it. Yeah, eat it. Instead of beat it. Disgraceful, Chaz. Disgraceful. Trying to contaminate this. Trying to infect the stream. Better than the original. I can't say what I'm about to say on stream. Any hazels? Oh, also, good news! I've started streaming Assetto Corsa as of last night. Assetto Corsa Competizione as of last night. So, shameless plug. If you want to watch someone who's significantly slower than all of these drivers drive cars that aren't Formula 1 cars. Twitch.tv/StuffSimon. In fact, I'm just going to be streaming games and stuff when I'm bored. Like, whatever game it is, I'll just stream it. Because it's fun. I enjoy streaming. I enjoy this commentating as well. Oh yeah, we've got the green flag. Oh, and this part of the song's playing. Should I play this instead of the actual Formula 1 theme when I'm doing the intros? Because this goes a lot harder. Anyhow, enough of that, because we're about to get going with 36 laps around the Red Bull Ring. I need like a... I mean, I do have a soundboard. But I need like a dun 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 when this is happening. What do I have when it comes to soundboard? That's about as good as it gets, to be honest. Okay. So the driver's just setting the strategies and setting up the setups, making sure the setups are all good. Of course, no safety cars enabled anymore. As of last week, drivers decided they didn't want safety cars. So it's all about the pure pace. Makes things a little bit less interesting for us, but since we can control those parameters in F123, why not take advantage and make all of the drivers happy with it? All right. Just waiting for the last of the drivers to be ready. And then we'll get the lights. Should I go to the Miami Grand Prix disguised as Crofty and invade the commentary box and do it myself? Just a random thought, but I think I should. Okay, so we still haven't started the race just yet. Not too sure why, but hopefully soon we'll get underway. Here we go. As the lights illuminate above the drivers, and now they've gone out, the Austrian Grand Prix can be underway. Here we go. Reese gets a decent start on his opponent, Jerry, who is currently the pole sitter as they barrel into turn one. Daniel trying to go around the outside of Reese, gets shoved off the track just a little bit, but it looks like everyone's managed to make it through turn one. Okay, barreling up the hill towards turn three. Sprogus has got a good run on the Red Bull drivers. They go three wide into turn three. Oh, who's going to come out in front? Daniel comes out in front. Who gets the better traction out of the McLaren and the AlphaTauri? They're wheel to wheel now, barreling towards turn four. Three wide. Once again, everyone falls back into formation and race, losing out positions on the opening four corners. Sprogus and Daniel takes advantage of that, and Jerry starting to pull out a lead, 0.9 seconds as the top, as the other three were fighting now as we go halfway through into lap one. Everyone rounding turn 8 now, and race did not get a good start, not as good as I thought it was going to be, and has managed to lose out 2 positions. Started P2, now in P4 and in a McLaren sandwich, so he's got to have really good pace in the later of these sprints to be able to get ahead. As the big contact on our screen there, big incident there. That is the 2 Alfa Romeos, and it looks like a Mercedes all clanging together, and Maxim gets the worst of it there on the final corner. Can we see any damage on that Alfa Romeo? Doesn't look like it, but his teammate Adam definitely has a front end plate missing. But here is your leader. 1.2 seconds is the gap already between P1 and P2, but the battle is going to be for those final podium spots between the AlphaTauri, the McLaren, and the Red Bull, all separated by 0.6 of a second, heading round into Sector 3 in just a moment now. So a very, very intense couple of corners to start off this Grand Prix, going 3 wide into turn 3 is absolutely phenomenal as V10 Reese in the Williams gets a 3-second time penalty already for track limits. We're expecting to see a lot of those in this race. Track limits is always a problem here at the Red Bull Ring, as DRS is now enabled. You can use it 3 times in the lap, and one of those times is now as Sprogus uses it to fly ahead of Daniel, and Adam gets a 5-second time penalty and retires from the race on the 3rd lap. So race already fallen back just a little bit, well, quite a lot actually, from Daniel up ahead. Pretty much everyone on the hard tires apart from 3 medium runners, Theodore, Pablo and Tim, all sitting outside the points at the moment in the lower part of this pack, this long DRS train from our leader all the way down to P14 of Pablo. And there's a yellow flag in the back. That is an Aston Martin currently stationary on the track. Oh, that is Tim stationary on the track there, just on the edge of Sector 3 now. The big DRS train. Asprogis sets the fastest lap and is hunting down Jerry into turn 1. Next DRS zone now. Open the rear wing and start to gain a big advantage. You can see the gap closing and closing into turn 3. He's now 0.1 of a second behind Jerry. Gets a very good exit there out of turn 3 as well. A little bit of wheel spin. Tim gets a 5-second penalty and retires as well. And now Jerry coming under heavy pressure from Daniel and Sprogis. All of them in line with DRS. Of course, the 3 DRS zones are all next to each other down the main straight, and then after turn 1 up the hill, and then after turn 3 back down the hill again. So the real time you need to make up is within the 3rd and the end of the 2nd sector, as Pablo gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. That's 2 people with 3-second time penalties already, and we're only on lap 4. But now DRS enabled again. Is Sprogis going to look to the inside into turn 1? No, not quite. But surely we're going to see him go for it into turn 3. DRS all the way up the hill now. He's just lifting. You can see on the telemetry he's lifting. He doesn't want to get past. Is he going to try in the 3rd DRS zone? He needs to get a good exit as his wheel spin just a little bit exiting, and now barreling towards turn 4. Is he going to pull side by side? No, lifting once again, playing the long game here as Sprogis, using the DRS at his advantage so he doesn't have to work the tyres just as hard, going for an overtake. But the more he sits behind Jerry, the more that Daniel becomes a threat for him, a bigger threat for him as well, as he's only 0.2 away from Daniel, from Sprogis, sorry, and Race, who started on the front row, down in 4th after that first lap entanglement and brilliant battle between P2, 3 and 4 currently in this race, is desperate to make up those places in the early stages. You can see Sprogis getting super close to that Ferrari, but not going for a move just yet as all the cars fly into view now. And Sprogis is a lot closer. He's going to go round the outside as they go wheel to wheel towards turn 3. Gets ahead just before the braking zone. In fact, so does Daniel. Manages to capitalize off that fight and has managed to get himself up into 2nd place. Jerry losing out there with the DRS and is now under heavy threat from Race. In fact, everyone in this top 4 is in contention for the win. Maybe even Ryan Grob. It all depends on how much life they're going to have in their tyres, how much pace they're going to have during the pit window. And you've really got to think, is being in the lead here in this first stint a bit of a... I can't think of the word for it. It's not as good as it would seem. Yes, you're in the lead and you're controlling the pace, but you're not really controlling the pace by a lot because you're always under pressure from these 3 consecutive DRS zones. As now Daniel is going to start hunting down Sprogis, 0.1 of a second as they head into turn 1. Immediately back onto the DRS. And Sprogis just trying to break the toe. Daniel not exactly following him in, but now he's going to try to go around the outside into turn 3, but Sprogis actually defends the inside line. And look at that, Jerry trying to have a little sniff at Daniel as well into turn 3. Almost makes the move work, but couldn't get the exit. And now the very close was that, a bit of netcode contact there between Daniel and Sprogis into turn 4. It looked like Sprogis got a little bit of a bump, but I'm not too sure as they're rounding now into sector 3. Of course, incredibly short sectors around this track because it's an incredibly short track. So Jerry started on pole, now down in 3rd. Race started in 2nd, now down in 4th. So our front row sitters aren't on the front row anymore, as it seems. They're not, well, one of them isn't even in the podium positions anymore. But I feel as though he is just biding his time, both of these drivers we know has incredible pace. Saying that, Jerry almost goes straight into the side of Daniel into turn 1, is now right behind him. Let's have a look at the battery comparison. There's not much. Here comes Reese down the outside of Jerry into the first corner, but no, Jerry has the inside line and is able to defend against the AlphaTauri, but who's got the better exit? That's the question. Race just using a little bit of his battery to get a bit of a jump there on Jerry, but it's not enough. And Sprague is actually starting to pull away a little bit from Daniel as he comes under pressure from that Ferrari. And is pulling out a gap of about 0.6. Of course, he needs to get that gap over 1 second to be able to break the DRS train from the Red Bull driver behind him. Oh, look how close Race is to that Ferrari. 0.1 between them as they head into the final corner. And using a little bit of battery to get a better exit. And then DRS all the way down the main straight. Pretty much everyone within DRS of each other from P1 all the way down to P14 as Ben gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. He's currently in 17th. So that's 3 people with 3-second time penalties. And everyone falling into formation into the third corner. No overtake attempts there for our top 4, which is where the real battle is. And what we're going to have to keep an eye out on, because there's going to be so much action around this very short track. Lap 9 of 36 here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Safety cars are off, just a reminder. Which means it's all about the race pace. No quote-unquote luck involved. And a little bit less strategy. So it's all about the pace now. So everyone just falling off a little bit. We've seen a lot tighter gaps than we have before, and that is Maxime currently not moving on the track in Sector 2, down in last place. Not sure what happened between himself, but causing the yellow flag, and nothing of it. So now DRS once again, and that's going to cause Daniel to close up the gap to the race leader, but he's not sitting in the slipstream, which makes you wonder what are the tactics between all these people who are very, very close to the race leader with DRS, not going for a lunge and not using their battery all that much to really attack, but maybe just to defend against the other people who do have DRS as they all fall into formation into turn 4. That is Maxim retiring from the race, so 3 retirees. 2 of them being Alfa Romeos. So, our top 14 drivers are all grouped up together, all in the big long DRS train, which makes overtaking very, very hard. You have to stretch your tyres more, you have to stretch your battery more. You can't use DRS to its full advantage, or any advantage, really. Except for if you're in P2, chasing down the leader, who, of course, won't have DRS, and is now very, very close to the Red Bull right behind him. 0.1 of a second as Daniel's looking to go round the outside just before the braking zone, gets the move done into turn 3 and takes the lead of the race off the McLaren driver, who is now under pressure from Jerry, but he's going to have the DRS assistance because the overtake was made before the detection point. The detection point really is, I'd say, just a little bit too late. If it was a little bit earlier, then it would change quite a lot when it comes to the third DRS point and who gets the advantage. So now we're going to ride on board with the Ferrari, who's been watching this battle for the lead and conserving that battery. Another 3-second time penalty there for Tibby. And Reese in the Williams gets the 3-second time penalty as well. Sorry, that's not the Williams Reese. That is the other AlphaTauri Reese down in 14th. Very confusing. We've got 2 Reeses and 1 race in the in X1, and they all kind of look the same when they're spelt. And Jerry actually just having a look at the McLaren. Brighton Grob, by the way, up into 4th because Reese has fallen down another position, is down in 5th. His championship opponent currently down in 8th, Trixie and the Haas. Technically they are both 2nd and 3rd, but because Tony Ritchie has been banned, makes Race the championship leader by default, bumps everyone up a position. So more time penalties coming in for our bottom from 12 down to 17th, apart from Anton. And everyone just having a little bit of a look to the inside into turn 1, but no moves to be made just yet. Daniel holding everyone off relatively nicely, but the DRS train is still far and thick between all of these drivers. That Jerry having a look to the inside of Sprogus, but it's not going to be enough. And actually Ryan Grob, didn't see that coming, trying to have a look at Jerry as well into turn 3. Jerry pretty much full battery here. Which tells you a lot about his pace that he's got, not needing to use any battery to keep up with his top 2, who are using a little bit more. Daniel in the lead, of course, using the battery to have to defend against the DRS. Otherwise, he would lose the lead pretty much immediately. Let's have a look at Race. Not far behind Ryan Grob as they fall into turn 9 and then turn 10 to fast right-handers. He's trying to break the toe there against his opponent behind defending world champion Alu, or drivers champion of EXA. As the DRS train chugga chugga choo choos. Sorry, I'll never say that again. DRS train heads up towards turn 3. Oh Christ, I can't believe I just said that. Let's have a look for some other battles down the field here. This is Brent in the other Red Bull, chasing down Justin in the Alpine. Ooh, gets a bit of a nudge there from Theodore. And then Theodore actually takes advantage of that. Advantage of that contact, unsettles Brent. And is now under pressure. Why is this camera angle? That's terrible. He actually gets done by V10 Reese as well, who does have a time penalty, but why did we have to be looking at his front wing while he was getting overtaken by V10 Reese out of turn 7? So that brings Brent from 10th all the way down to 12th within 1 lap. He's not going to be happy about that. Going to be on the charge again to make himself back up into the points. Let's have a look further up the order as Pablo retires from the session. Whoa, what's happened there? What has happened there? Jerry looked like he was going to go a bit too ambitious against Daniel, knocking him sideways. Now gives Ryan Grob the chance to go down the inside 1, but maybe even 2 here. No, he's only got down the inside of Jerry, which puts Race right back into contention here as they all squabble round into turn 6. Jerry and Ryan Grob side by side towards turn 7 now. Jerry is just about ahead here of... Right, how did Race got ahead of Ryan somehow there? Brings himself back up into 4th, and Ryan Grob was in the podium spots, and now I'm not sure how, but has managed to lose out 2 positions there. Very intense fight round that middle and 3rd sector. Costs you so much time going wheel to wheel around the middle corners, round 6, 7, and 8. And look at this jump Race has got on Jerry, but he just doesn't have the straight line speed to make it work. Let's rejoin to the very front as well, by the way, because Sprogus, in all of that carnage, took the lead of the race 1 lap ago at turn 3. Sprogus actually managed to make the most of, I believe, what was contact between Jerry and Daniel and bump himself up into the lead. So, lap 16 of 36. McLaren leading from Red Bull, Ferrari, and AlphaTauri. And pit stops aren't going to come just yet, of course, even though it is lap 16. We've got 36 laps to go. So, all of the drivers managing their tyres as best as they can. V10 Reese, another time penalty there in the Williams, down in P11. But the real focus is on really this top 5. Who are all separated by not a lot of time. All separated by the snap of a finger as we ride on board with Jerry, who's got a brilliant view of the fight between Sprogis and Daniel as the DRS opens. Jerry using his battery to try to get closer, using a lot of his battery there. Try maybe down the inside. No, there's no room there because Daniel's taking the inside line. Contact between the two of them as they always get hooked to each other on the exit of turn 3. And Sprogis still managed to hold down the lead as this Red Bull and Ferrari are both fighting. Actually, Jerry brakes quite a bit later than Daniel there and almost runs into the back of Daniel. In fact, it might have just been a small touch between the two of them. And let's have a look at Race, who's also got a great view of this. Oh, bit of a downshift there from Race. Not sure what happened there. Just making sure the engine can go to the limiter maybe. As now the DRS train starts to go. We're seeing a couple of drivers head into the pits. That's 2, 4, 5 drivers in the pit lane right now, looking to get the early jump. Lap 18 of 36. So pit stops may come soon. Here comes Jerry, by the way, almost down the inside. He's going to have a look, but it's way too late. It's way too late between himself and Daniel, getting a little bit too aggressive, which is causing Race to take advantage, retake third position from Jerry. And that was a little bit too aggressive there from Jerry. There wasn't a gap there. It was always going to close. And now actually have a look at Ryan Grob battling it out with Alu round turn 4 and 5. And Reinhard Sprogis taking the biggest advantage out of this, by the way, as his gap between P1 and P2 is now going up to 0.8 of a second, which is exactly what our race leader needs, as we have another retiree from the session. That is the Haas driver of Theodore, down on the main straight, retiring. So the gap between P1 and P2 now 0.7 of a second, but it's going to start to diminish as 3 DRS zones coming up, and we're currently just at the end of the first one, round turn 1. Now, next DRS zone again. Race has bumped himself up into third as the Ferrari and the McLaren continue to fight up into turn 3. You have to say Jerry was looking a little bit aggressive for these overtakes in turn 3, looking for an inside line that wasn't really there. It was sort of half being defended, but also he wasn't alongside enough. And really that has only cost him positions and time. So lap 19, we're going to see some more pit stops coming very soon. As Theodore Anderson actually says in the Twitch chat, his wheel died. So that's not good. That is Alu heading into the pits, by the way. And Ryan Grob bumps himself up into 5th because of that. When are we going to see our top 5 head into the pits? Because the undercut could be very powerful here from Alu. But it all depends whether he gets himself behind a driver to take the DRS. Because this top 5, all within DRS of each other. And that's going to boost their lap times heavily compared to someone who's just pitted for new tyres. So, Daniel, look at that. Almost less than a 10th between himself and Sprogis. Everybody followed up closely. Top 4 incredibly close. Ryan Grob half a second away from Jerry. You can see in the background of these shots as we're looking at Daniel. So when are we going to see everyone pit? Let's ride on board with Ryan Grob, who's going to give us the best info on when people are pitting. That's 2 drivers pitting, Ryan and Jerry, into the pit lane now as they race the drivers down the main straight. And just before the speed limiter, not getting caught speeding. So now our top 3 still yet to pit and still battling it out for the lead. So new fastest lap of the race is set by Trixty in the Haas. 105.1 as that's Reese going down the inside of Daniel. And they're almost wheel to wheel. Going towards turn 4 above the DRS. Is that Daniel weaving just a little bit there? But Reese decides to go to the outside. And the contact between the Red Bull and the McLaren. Daniel outbrakes himself into the side of Sprogis and retakes the lead of the race because of that. Straight into the side of Sprogis, causing him to go sideways and doing a little bit of a drift. And wonder if there's any damage between the two of them. It doesn't look like it, but that was some very interesting racecraft there from the Red Bulls. All three deciding to head into the pits now. Daniel looked very, very twitchy down the third DRS zone. Which, it's very interesting that. He looked very twitchy in the third DRS zone, like he was weaving. Not sure what was going on there. But that gives V10 Leo the lead of the race on new mediums for him, actually. Trixty, Justin, and Leo all in the lead. Where do our top three all come out? At the very, very back of the very, very back of the pack. Jerry up in 7th, Ryan Grob in 8th as they're almost wheel to wheel. Exiting turn 3, Sprogis down in 10th. And Race in 14th, actually. So I'm not sure what happened in the pit stop there for the AlphaTauri, but is down in 2nd to last. And Alu, by the way, who pitted early compared to the top 4, but was still very much in contention for the podium spots, is now in 4th place, sitting in the DRS zone of Trixty. So have our top 3 just because they've pitted a lot later. Has that compromised them when it comes to track position? Because if you're stuck in the DRS train, there's not much you can do when it comes to overtaking without burning your battery and your tyres. So let's have a look at the new leaders of our race. Trixty, Justin, and Leo. Jetters, thank you very much for the raid of 5. Welcome to the EXA Racing League. It's X1 tonight here in Austria as Trixty's going down the inside of Leo using battery and DRS to try and just about get ahead, but it looks like he's managed to do it. Leo losing out a position there into turn 3 and Justin holding down the lead now. So, our top 4 now consists of Justin, Trixty, Leo, and Alu. Alu, who was in 5th before the pit stops, is now in 4th, and everyone else who was ahead of him before the pit stops is now almost out of the points. So a lot of ground to make up for our pole sitter as well. Jerry in 7th actually makes up a place just there into turn 9 against Brent. Justin in the lead gets a 3-second time penalty for track limits. So definitely not ideal there as Jerry under heavy pressure. Ryan Grob down the inside of Brent into turn 1. So lots and lots of action here. In the second half of this race, it's going to be a lot for us to keep up with. We've got our new race leaders. We've got our old race leaders trying to regain their positions and make their way through the pack. So, what's going on at the front there? It's very chaotic. We just saw a little bit of contact there. I think it was between that Alpine, which has just lost out to Alu, who seems to have pulled a pretty interesting strategy play, pitting earlier than the other drivers in front of him, but it's given him a good buffer and is now fighting for the very lead of the race with 12 laps to go as we're heading round to the 2nd to last corner there. That is Jerry up in 5th, has made ground up very, very quickly. 2nd overtake in a row that he's made down into turn 9 and now has the DRS to chase down Justin, who was previously leading the race, but has now dropped down to 4th, braking a lot later than Justin. Look at that, right at the exhaust pipe of that Alpine. He's got a better run as well, heading up the hill. Justin doesn't actually have DRS, under braking down the inside. There goes Jerry up into 4th and now has Alu in his sights. So, He's got less than a second between himself and the leader. There goes Alu down the outside of 1, but maybe even 2 into turn 4. Has he got ahead of V10 Leo? Let's have a look. It's so hard to tell here. Yes, he has. Into turn 6. Alu has retaken the lead. Well, taken the lead of this race. Just about. There goes Leo. Actually, DNFing there. I'm not too sure why, but that brings Jerry up into second. Ryan Grob up into third, and all of a sudden, this race has changed from Jerry, Ryan have a lot of ground to make up to Jerry and Ryan sitting on the podium chasing down Alu, who pitted a lap earlier than them. Race, by the way, and Sprogis haven't managed to make up the same amount of ground, currently sitting in P10 and P8 respectively. Meanwhile, their competitors are all the way up at the front of the pack once again and looking to take this lead away from the defending ExA X1 champion. And there goes Jerry down the inside into turn 4 and exiting 5. Takes the lead off of Alu. Says bye-bye, thank you very much. I'll have that. Nice try. And now it's up to Ryan Grob to get past Alu as well. And then hunt down Jerry. He's got to make use of all of his battery. You can see Alu used a lot of battery, pushing very hard in this middle stint. Pushing very, very hard. Only 10% left compared to Ryan Grob's 48%, who is also going to have DRS. Looks like it wasn't active for just a moment there. We have another retiree from the session. That is Timmy in the other Aston Martin. So, only 13 drivers stand. Ryan Grob just falling back a little bit there from Ali, who has DRS on Jerry. But into turn 3, he's braking a lot later. Can he get a very good exit against this Mercedes using the battery? Wheel spinning out of turn 3, using the battery to go to the inside and get alongside of Alu. Underbraking, outbrakes him down the inside. Is he going to make it stick? Please stop showing me that camera angle. Yes, he has. Exiting turn 5. Lovely stuff there from the McLaren driver. And retakes second place. I hate this camera angle. It's so just terrible. So now, the battle for the lead is Ferrari versus McLaren. It was going to be Ferrari, McLaren, AlphaTauri, and then another McLaren. But Sprogis and Race haven't managed to make up the same amount of ground as Jerry and Ryan, who are now battling back at it again for the lead, with Alu chilling behind. Actually saying that Sprogis is up in 4th and is a little bit late to the party, but better late than never. Also, Daniel makes his way up into 5th. So, as I was saying, these guys haven't made up enough ground. They're starting to come into contention for the win again. Our top 5 looking very similar, except for Race has been replaced by Alu. Race still not able to make up any ground. And as soon as I say that, he goes down the inside of turn 4 and 5 and is up into P6. So now it's all about how quickly can they, and if they can, dispense of Alu, who pitted a lap earlier. Ryan Grob, 3-second time penalty for track limits. That changes everything for this race, which now means Jerry is going to keep Ryan as a buffer for the lead of this race. But I wonder if Ryan is going to try to put as much pressure on Jerry as possible to let Sprogis get advantage of this. Play the team game like we saw in Saudi Arabia between both Haas drivers in real life Formula 1. But there goes Ryan Grob with DRS into the lead of the race despite the 3-second time penalty. He's going to want to make up as many places as possible, and that gives Sprogis up into 3rd against Alu, who is now under pressure from the Red Bull. Oh, that's a lock up there from Daniel going round turn 4. Very, very close between himself and the gravel, and maybe even spinning out. There goes Race down the inside into turn 6, wheel to wheel, round 7. Who's going to be ahead? Then Daniel has the inside line for turn 8, and he's using all the battery he can to try and get ahead as they head towards turn 9. Daniel has the inside line. There's contact between the two of them. Race is pushed off the track and has to concede into the final corner, but now has DRS and maybe a slightly better exit down the main straight. He has the inside line for turn 1. Under braking out breaks the Red Bull, but doesn't get an amazing exit. Of course, both of them now have DRS. So Race makes his way up into 5th position, but it's not over yet. Daniel out braking him into turn 3. They go wheel to wheel once again, and now they're both going to have DRS down the hill. Who's going to be ahead between the two of them? It's very hard to tell. I think Race is ahead, but he's still got Daniel on his outside once again into turn 4. Bit of contact between the two of them, and I think Race wins that one out. That good 1.5 lap battle between the two drivers, wheel to wheel, almost throughout those entire 15 corners that they went through. Very impressive driving. Just a little bit of contact between the two of them, but nothing detrimental. Both of them playing very, very aggressively here tonight. All is to play for Race, especially. He wants to be absolutely outperforming Trixty, who is down in 10th, who is going to get 1 point. So it's going to be enough. But he wants to start building that championship lead between himself and Trixty. Of course, like I've mentioned before, Tony Ritchie banned from ExA, which makes Race our #1 in drivers. Oh, there's contact between both McLarens, it looks like. Both McLarens sideways. Ryan Grob was very sideways, and then Sprogus is even more sideways and is now all the way down in 10th. Ryan Grob losing out as well. Both McLarens detrimentally losing out. That bumps Daniel and Reese up into... Whoa! What has happened here? Race is down in 7th now. Reese in the other AlphaTauri up in 4th. So a huge... Oh, onto the gravel goes Race. Out of turn 6 and into 7 and now 8. So a huge shuffle round of the order. Round turn 3 there. Whoa, there's contact between Race and Ryan Grob as Race goes down the inside into turn 10. What is this? Absolute carnage between everyone. Now Ryan Grob trying to go down the inside of Race. Not any room there. He's going to settle in for this next DRS zone now. So Jerry has managed to pull a 2-second gap between himself and Alu. And Daniel has fallen back a 1.5 seconds between himself and Alu as well, and is now under heavy pressure from Reese. Not Race, who was previously in contention for this win and started on the front row, but his teammate Reese, who is also in an AlphaTauri, is currently hunting down that final podium position as they head into turn 4. And now there's a big DRS train between 4th place and down into 10th. Both McLarens had a little bit of contact between, well, a lot of contact between each other into turn 3, and both of them got the worst of it, as well as Race as well. It looks like he had to slow down quite a lot, losing himself a lot of positions to Brent, Justin, and Reese and Daniel. So this brings up a couple of drivers who we haven't seen all that much in this race into contention, but a lot of them do have penalties. In fact, Reese has a penalty, Justin has a penalty, Brent has a penalty, Ryan Grob has a penalty, Anton has 2 of those penalties, and Ben has 4 of them. So, when it comes to the gap between Race and Daniel, Race is going to make up 3 positions with those time penalties, of course. Sprogus gets what did Sprogus get? Sprogus got a 3-second time penalty. So both McLarens with a penalty, and both McLarens fighting it out with Race, who is surrounded by people who don't know what track limits are. That's a joke. Of course they do. But, you know, mistakes are sometimes made. So it's very interesting. Race isn't going to be able to get himself onto the podium, I don't think. He's got a lot of cars in his way. I say that. Down the inside into turn 6 on Brent in the Red Bull. Bumps him up 1 more. So he's just got 2 people to clear with time penalties. But only with 3 laps left. It's going to be a big ask if he wants to get himself on the podium. And Ryan Grob making up another position on Brent as well. DRS for Race. Chasing down Justin and then his teammate Reese as well, who has a time penalty. So Alu is 2.8 away from Jerry, who is in the lead. And with 2 laps left, it's definitely looking like everything is looking nice and peachy for the Ferrari driver. But Alu under heavy pressure from Daniel. I say heavy pressure. The gap, actually, he doesn't have DRS, does Daniel? So not as much pressure as I thought, but Daniel is under pressure from the sister team of AlphaTauri. Reese currently chasing down Daniel, and I wonder if we're going to see how many team orders in play between the two AlphaTauris. You can see there, just behind, is Race, who desperately wants to get on that podium. So I wonder if Reese is going to be applying pressure, making Daniel use his battery here. And then they just swap positions. That is the unknown here. Race has DRS on his teammate, who has DRS on the sister team, Red Bull. So all is to play for with 2 laps left. Lap 35 up of 36 here at the Red Bull Ring in Austria. 20 corners to go. Now 17 corners to go for our race leader, who you can see using all of his battery just to get ahead. He's got 3.5 between him. He doesn't have a penalty. There's nothing for him to worry about now. He is absolutely A-OK in the lead here. So, Daniel very, very close to Alu, heading round turn 6 and now into turn 7 and the third DRS zone. They head towards the final 2 corners of the second to last lap. So, final lap now for our race leader, Jerry. 3.6 is the gap. It is by far the least close race we've had all season here in X1. Jerry came in last week, got himself on the podium in the Alfa Romeo, now comes into the Ferrari and is about to win here. He's only got 7 corners to go till he takes the win. And actually, that is Daniel going down the inside of Alu into turn 3. But Alu is going to be snapping right back. Neither of them with DRS. And how much is Race going to be able to capitalize off this 3 wide into turn 4? Race comes out on top. Race comes through and takes second place. His teammate Reese manages to also take advantage of that 3 wide moment and brings himself up into third, but he does have a 3-second time penalty. So Race manages on the final lap with only a few corners left to bring himself up into second with that incredible double overtake into turn 4. Second time we've seen him go 3 wide this race. But here we are. Your race leader crosses the line to win. Jerry wins here at Austria. And then it's Race in second. His teammate gets bumped down to 5th. Daniel in 3rd. Alu in 4th. Reese in 5th. Trixie finishes 6th. And it's Justin 7th. Ryan Grob in 8th. And Reinhard Sprogus in 9th. Both McLarens having contact up in turn 3 just a few laps ago, which caused their podium contention completely gone. Then Brent in 10th. Anton is going to come home in 11th with the fastest lap as well. So congratulations to Anton for the fastest lap there. 104.2. And Ben Shawley. 2 corners to go for the last man standing with a 15-second time penalty as well. But at least he finished the race. So there you go. That was a very, very just chaotic race. Absolutely chaotic. Driver of the day goes to Reese. I would give it to Race, his teammate, for drop down in 4th, then down to 7th, and actually into 10th after the pit stops. But managed to climb his way back up into 2nd with less than a lap to go. With 6 corners left, he managed to do it. So, that is Jerry who wins by the furthest we've ever seen someone win so far this season, followed by Race in 2nd, and then Daniel, Alu, Reese, Trixie, Justin, Ryan Grob, Sprogus, Brent make up the top 10. We're about to go into the post-race interviews in just a moment. Once we get the group chat sorted with our top 3. So we're just getting the group chat sorted with our top 3, and then we'll be able to get going underway with the interviews. Chaz, are you doing questions as well?
Yep.
Okay, sounds good. So, a very, very chaotic race for us here today. There we go. We've got all of the drivers now in the group chat. We've just got to wait for them to join up, and we can get underway with the questions. Okay. Always takes just a bit of a while for our top 3 to join up, of course. They've just finished the race, need a little bit of a break before we get into the interviews. Okie dokie, we're just waiting and waiting. There we go, we've got everyone. Hello everyone, welcome to the post-race interviews here for Austria. So, our top 3 we have with us today. We'll start off with Daniel, please. So, it looked like you had second place until the final lap there. But it was a very chaotic race, all in all. So can you just give us your general thoughts on the race? It was pretty chaotic up in the front, lots of contact, lots of overtakes for the lead. So yeah, just give us your thoughts.
Yeah, first stint was pretty no real fights, but in the second stint it was a bit more chaos because a few guys undercut very early. But yeah, last lap was a bit chaotic, but overall, yeah, good race.
Yeah, the top 3, top 4 pitted a lot later than everyone else. Alu actually pitted a lap earlier than you guys. And you had a lot of ground to make up in that second stint. Quite a lot of you were almost out of the points after coming out of the pits. So a lot of work to be made up in the second stint, right?
Yeah, but I know that I need a lot of ERS for the second stint, but was pretty tricky to manage it. But yeah, was really nice to overtake so much guys in a few laps.
Yeah, especially with them being stuck in the DRS train. Do you think that was a lot more difficult than it would be on any other track?
Yeah, maybe, but maybe not because you can overtake very easy. But yeah, with 3 DRS zones, you can't drive out of the DRS train. But to overtake, it's maybe a bit maybe easy for in the of this track because uh, you have a few good overtake zones right here.
Yep. Thank you very much. So I'll pass it over to Chaz for a couple of questions if he has any.
Yeah, hello. Um, it looked like you were pretty involved tonight, so did you feel like did you feel confident? Because it's obviously your first race here, so did you have any nerves or did you just go for it head on and see what happens?
Yeah, I'm driving the last few races, I think. Uh, I don't want to reach anything, but yeah, I'm go for it. Yeah.
Cool. Well,
Yep.
thank you very much. Chaz, any more?
Um, Not a lot, but you seem to be pretty calm when you were in the pack. You would just look like you were just kind of waiting for any possible mistakes and then taking the chances then.
Yeah, I know a few drivers did a few mistakes. I think that was the 25th lap, when a few drivers in front of me crashed, but yeah, that was pretty lucky for me. If not, I think I only get P4 or P5. Yeah, that was really good for me that a few drivers did a few mistakes.
Well, thank you very much for that, Daniel. Congratulations on P3. We'll move now on to Race, who finished in P2. Congratulations, Race. Just talk us through that contact that I think was between you and both McLarens up in turn 3 in the second stint.
Hi guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, first of all, just want to ask you guys again. You guys know what I'm gonna ask you.
Yeah, of
Did you
course.
enjoy the race?
It was
Of
the
course.
most chaotic and awesome race we've had all season, and that is
Yeah.
a big target to beat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be a big target to beat because Austria always delivers when it comes to entertainment and racing. Um, yeah, to answer your question about the McLarens. What lap was that? That was towards the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was in the
The
second
one
stint.
where Sprogus spun himself around, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I think that was someone in front of me had collided with him, and then everyone else just got collected. If you were on the inside or in the middle of the track, you're finished because
Yeah.
them two weren't ghosting at all. And then Sprogus just got caught on my car as I was trying to get out of the scene. And yeah, like Daniel said, if you're in the right position at the right time, you're going to get lucky. If you're not, you can't do anything but brake and pray that you don't get damaged, which luckily I didn't.
Mm.
And I was able to continue, but that really did hinder my race because I had the freshest tires of anyone. Well, me, Daniel, and um, Sprogus had the best tires, so we were the fastest guys. But then obviously, um, it just goes downhill if something like that happens. There's not enough time to catch back up.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then there was a final lap collision, but what had happened was is I've turned right and then I didn't expect Daniel to go right, and we've got caught on each other, and then as a result of that, it's kind of like yeah, it's messed up the braking,
Was
and
that was
I
that
don't
in
think there
was that in
wasn't
turn
too
4?
much. Yeah, there wasn't too much contact on my end, but if you go 3 wide, that's always gonna happen. Um, yeah, we'll obviously look back if there's a steward's report or whatever, but my engineer told me there was like little to no sort of
Mm.
responsibility on my end there. But yeah, it was a good race. I really enjoyed it, and well done to Yeri. Yeri came up on top, which is good for me. I still outscored everyone else, so
Yeah.
I think I extend the championship lead.
Yeah, so with Tony being banned from EXA, that bumps you up into first and Trixie up into second. So you're currently leading the championship by a nice amount of points now. You got that good finish, that good podium finish today. Can we talk about lap 1? I thought you got a decent start, but dropped down to 4th after the first corner going 3 wide into, third corner, going 3 wide into turn 3 on the first lap. So you lost out down into 4th there. Looks like you struggled a lot in the first stint.
Uh, it wasn't so much struggling; it was more trying to play it safe because at the end of the day, these guys are reserved. Or I think Daniel's a reserve. They've got when you're a reserve, you've got nothing to lose. Like if you hit someone or crash out or whatever, you're a reserve. It doesn't matter at all. I'm the only one here that if I crash out, I'm losing points. So I thought let them go ahead. If you're there's like a bit of a sort of separation in terms of the guys at the front and then the mid pack. So I'd say from where I was and where Ryan was, if you go beyond that, they weren't ever really going to threaten us. that kind of thing. So
Yeah.
I thought if I'm last in that group, I can save the most. And then I'm pretty sure Ryan and Yeri had a bit of a tangle as well, and then I was able to get the position back. So opportunities will always present themselves to you, but if you're patient, everything works out. And I was patient. The only thing that happened at the end was obviously that massive crash, and I got stuck. So I couldn't do anything. But yeah, patience is very, very rewarding at this sort of circuit. And there's no point trying to rush your way through it. Like I think Ryan sent me a clip of him using to overtake, and it's like, okay, cool. If you're using to overtake me on lap 12, that's cool. But then yeah, in about 5 laps, you're going to get into another altercation. I'm going to get back past. So yeah.
Oh, lovely. Well, I'm very glad you've come out in second at extending a championship lead.
Oh,
Very
sorry.
good
Wait,
for
wait,
you.
wait. Sorry, just to
Go for
interrupt. Daniel is now a full-time Red Bull.
Yes.
Oh, I've heard. Okay, but he's not going to win the championship, right? So that was my point. So, yeah, that was my point. I didn't think that he's got much to lose in a way. So I think that's why he's a little bit more sort of taking more risks. I don't really take risks. I'm not a betting man. If there's a three-way sort of fight, I'm not going to push into turn 3 and try and
Yeah.
force an overtake. So yeah, unless it's the final lap.
Mm-hmm. So, Charles, you got anything to add on to that?
I do. It seemed like when you had that collision with both McLarens, they pulled off a 2016 Mercedes on the last lap, sort of, and you just seemed it didn't. You kind of lost it in P7. Did you think? Did you not really mind that a lot? Because obviously it is annoying, but did you just still have the podium in sights because you got it in the end, which was amazing?
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so when you look, I think it was Alu in second, right? He was the Mercedes. I knew that his tires were a lot older, so we thought if we can get past these guys, I think I was making the same overtake into turn 5, the fast left-hander. I think I made about 4 or 5 overtakes through that corner. I was using that same tactic every time, and it was working. So I thought, okay, I can get past these guys. Reese will probably let me through, which he did, in respect to him. My teammate's absolute goat, and I thought, yeah, Daniel and Alu are going to fight over that position. For some reason, there was a bit of a game glitch. They both didn't have DRS, so that's why I had so much overspeed, and I was able to get past both of them. But that's just unfortunate. You can't really do anything when Cody's gets involved like that. So yeah, a bit unlucky for them, but I always had the podium in sight. I always thought, yeah, I can get this, but it's always difficult. Ryan Grubb is really, really quick, and he tried again to try and get past me, and unfortunately for him, he didn't have any battery. So yeah, it was a bit of a waste. But then yeah, we got the podium in the end, and that's what matters.
Well, congratulations to yourself on P2. We'll now move on to our race winner, Yeri. Congratulations on the win. It looked very close in the first stint, but as the drivers started to fight a bit more for the final podium spots in the second stint, you started to pull away quite a bit.
Yes, yeah, I was literally going into this race to just have fun, and I think it was quite fun to drive.
Well, that's lovely to hear. Yeah, of course, last weekend's Anvo, you were on the podium, right, for Alfa Romeo, if I believe so.
Yeah.
Now you're winning a race here for Ferrari. So you got your sights set for a full-time seat here at EXA maybe next season?
Well, no, I'm at the moment I just want to be a reserve. I like to drive sometimes here, and like the last 2 weeks I could drive easily, so that's why I'm driving a little bit more now. But yeah.
Lovely stuff. Yeah, thank you very much. Chaz, any other questions?
Well, after that little clash between McLarens, it seemed like you had a straightforward task at the end there was just to bring it home, as it seemed like Alu behind didn't really have the tyres to challenge you. So it's just about a matter of just bringing the car home and securing the win.
Yeah, the moment I saw that there was a 1.6 second gap, yeah, I know. I mean, every driver this game knows with last laps to go, like 5 laps it was in the end to go. You know, there's gonna be so much chaos. They're never gonna catch up if they don't work together. And the whole race, we were not working together with any of the cars. So I knew it. Yeah, it would be like it would be easily to just be P1 until the end.
Oh yeah, it certainly
Yeah.
looks like you had a lot of pace throughout the entire session, of course, putting it on pole as well. So congratulations to our top 3. Thank you very much for taking part in the post-race interviews. We appreciate your post-race thoughts very much. So thank you very much for that, and we hope to see you all next week on the podium. Bye.
Yep.
So that is the X1 race for this week completed. I hope you all enjoyed it. It was very, very chaotic and great fun. Thank you very much for watching. I shall be here next week, hopefully, for X3 and the same time this week as well. Next week, sorry, for X1. So Tuesday and Wednesday is me. We have more races for the rest of the week. 5 races a week in different divisions. If you're new, and you're not part of the league yet, do ! League. Please do join up, and I hope to see you all next Tuesday. Bye bye.